Hey, what's up YouTube? So today I'm going to be doing kind of my initial thoughts of the ARGTEK mod, antenna mod for the Phantom 3 standard. So please go ahead and stay tuned. So as you can see here, you have two patch antennas, and then you have which are for the Wi-Fi, boosting out the signal, and then you have the linear antenna here for the RC remote. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So basically I picked this up off of eBay for about 69 bucks or so. Really quick shipping. Took about 2 or 3 days from New York here to Arizona. And yeah, this is supposed to you know, increase your range on your stock controller. So I, you know, pretty much installed it. Pretty easy to do. The hardest part, seriously, was getting those connections, you know, connected back onto the remote. They're so small and tiny. It, you know, it was very hard to do unless you had, you know, a magnifying glass or something to really see if you were right over the hole or not. So that took the longest. But yeah. So once I installed it, I immediately went and did a test. Now, first of all, with the stock antenna, I was doing just a flight pattern, as you know, can see in my other videos, just from my backyard out into the open field next to me. I was getting about 2,000 feet before I completely lost signal and RC, and then so it returned home. With the upgrade, I was getting 2,400 feet before it lost signal and it returned home, which is, you know, an added, you know, range of 400 feet or so, which, you know, I'll take that. A couple of things that I actually had to consider after getting that range was that I do have a dual Wi-Fi setup in my house. The routers are actually towards the back of the house too, so I could see that, you know, putting a damper on my range. One router is a 2.4 gigahertz, the one's a 5.8 gigahertz, so pretty sure that, you know, probably had something to do with that. Also, I wasn't in complete line of sight. It kind of curved around a little bit to where obviously I couldn't see it, so I'm sure with the other houses kind of blocking it, you know, that also played, you know, a bit of interference to it. But, you know, for where I was, you know, 2,400 feet I thought was pretty acceptable. I'm going to be doing another test here where I go out to that open field and see how far I can go. So hopefully I can get over 2,400 feet. You know, I've seen these videos of some guys getting, you know, a couple kilometers in range, you know, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 feet even. I mean, obviously that's like in the middle of nowhere, so, you know, there's nothing interfering with it. I'll be in my dirt lot. There's still some interference with the nearby houses. There are some power lines that are about 600 or 700 yards away that could possibly put some, you know, interfere with that. But, you know, I should be getting over 2,400 feet now that I'll be in an open area. All right, so yeah, another thing I want to mention too is the positioning of your antennas. You want them straight up like this, especially when you're, you know, really far out. The reason for that being is the signal itself isn't coming from the very top of these antennas. It's actually coming all from the side here, the back. You know, so you want the biggest amount of kind of signal that you can, you know, output at that time. So with that being said, you know, you want this positioned in a way that your remote, your antennas are pointed towards kind of the legs of the craft. Obviously you're probably not going to see it, you know, once you're over 1,000, you know, 1,500 feet anyways, but you're going to want to just point it kind of towards that line of sight. I noticed too that even like the smallest kind of movements by, you know, lifting your remote up a little bit or down a little bit can affect your range when you're out that far. So just make sure that you kind of, check your status on your tablet or your phone, whatever mobile device you're using, to kind of see where your bars are at for your Wi-Fi and your RC signal, and make adjustments accordingly. One thing that I noticed is when the craft is directly above me, I actually recommend placing the antennas out like this, flat like that. That actually, gives you a really good amount of range as well. Obviously, you're not going to want to fly over 400 feet. That's just an FAA kind of guidelines there. But I noticed that when I had the craft directly above me and I had the antennas like this, I was starting to lose signal around 300 and some odd feet. Not really that much signal, but the bars went down a couple notches. So it's just something to think about. I had full bars when I was approaching 400 feet, and when I had the antennas down like that. Again, it's coming from the backing, the sides here. It's not coming from the actual point of these. So that's something to keep in mind, when flying and trying to get the best range you can with your remote. All right, well, thanks again for watching, guys, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel.